Kevin, just talking about phones and access and all the rest, look, the Waynes there from the Model Primary were saying, look, turn stuff off at night, turn your TV off, including the red dot and all the rest. And I see the Aussie Prime Minister, this guy, Anthony Albanese, he's making a real impact down in Australia, and he's got a sense that he's with the people and he's sort of getting the mood of the people. What's he saying about smartphones, Kevin?
Yeah, well, he's recommended that residents in Australia should turn their smartphone off every day. It's a security measure, really, saying that, if you turn it off for 5 minutes, it can actually lead to some security benefits of such, so you can minimize the risk by turning it off, because it will close any applications running your processes in the background, really. That could be maliciously monitoring users or collecting data.
So that's like back to default in terms of your searching and the business that you've been up to that day. Switching your phone off, disrupts the scammer or disrupts the hacker?
Well, it does. There is some kind of zero-day clicks. Some of the malicious software which only resides in RAM, and that's random access memory. So when your phone is turned off, that malicious software will disappear. But I think they got the targets wrong, really. That this is more guidance for the intelligence community, not the general masses. Because they're initially saying, turn off your phone daily, disable Bluetooth when not in use, use a protective case to limit the mic range, and don't have sensitive conversations on there. But it's really for different target threats, really. I would see the most of the nastiest stuff really is apps requesting excessive permissions, really, really. But, it can be useful to turn your phone off every few days, really, because there's a lot of memory, issues sometimes where memory is not cleaned when you scroll up and close your apps, really. But it's kind of like, really, this is not for the masses, really. There's more advice you could give people to remain safe, really, because, these zero-day clicks, these ones which do reside in memory, and yes, if you do reboot your machine, they're generally are very expensive, and they're usually for targeting journalists or for, world leaders, really, because they don't want these, exploits being, wasted on the masses again. The more they can hide them, the better. So really, it's because even on the iPhone, they have this very good feature called iOS lockdown, and that kind of does lockdown mode, and that kind of does a lot of this automatically, where it turns off a lot of the communication devices on your phone, really, and limits, certain types of things coming in. So, but again, that's only for certain people who really feel they're at risk, but the average person is not generally targeted individually by these very, memory resident malicious apps.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, the Aussie scene, whatever the case, seem to be ahead of us. They've just appointed their first ever inaugural national cybersecurity coordinator. We'll see where that goes with the Aussies. Right, listen, Kevin, what about TikTok? I know sometimes it can be controversial. It's so good because it's so, I don't do TikTok, but I can see how attractive it is. But letting parents filter out videos they don't want their kids to see, what's that about, Kevin? And why can't I do it on other stuff? There are people on Twitter that I don't want to ever see or ever hear from. Hallions, but I can't filter them out. Should more be doing this? And just firstly, what's TikTok up to?
TikTok, they're giving parents and guardians a way to filter out videos that they don't want their children to see. And, it's in addition to the app's family parent functionality. So you have to have the family pairing turned on with your child, really. And then you can link your account to your teenagers again. So, and you're able to detect content filters already, like being able to put specified words or hashtags in to remove those from, your child's feed. But of course, the teenagers will be alerted to this, it's up to them whether they accept it or not. And also, that they're a hit or miss strategy because, again, of course, there are videos, many videos on TikTok or on social media we don't want our children to see, and especially on TikTok became notorious for kind of ones which with unhealthy eating habits, really. Again, so but again that they the people that are doing these awful videos, they use different they misspell their hashtags, really. So again, it's not an exact way to be able to block what your kid is seeing.
Family pairing, I can understand. I mean, that becomes a row at what age it says to in terms of wanting to link to your teenager's account. Teenagers, 11, I could imagine that being a row at 10, 11-year-old, Kevin. Family pairing, a lot of 11-year-olds won't want their mum or dad anywhere near the place,
Oh, no, of course not, no. And, there's so many ways around, teenagers can run rings around their parents again. And then there's some maybe in one tab, but using on the phone and whatever.
Kevin, just two quick ones, but important ones. Online gamblers have been raking in thousands. They were betting, were they? That sub that went down the Titanic with such disastrous loss of life. People were betting on that, were they?
Yeah, there's this kind of poly market, used by cryptocurrency where you're able to bet on events. there's about £300,000 or dollars actually waged by these users of the site, to see whether or not the sub would be, whether they'd be rescued or not, or whether their sub, would be found destroyed. And again, people are complaining about this, saying that, this is terrible, betting on people's lives. But then some of these bettors came back and said, well, no, actually, because when it comes to markets and stocks, you can be accused, really, it's in bad taste, really, if you were to maybe invest stock in a gun manufacturing or, whatever else. But in this case, they're saying, look at the outcome of what we're doing didn't make any difference. And in fact, they were saying that maybe the people would have seen that, but intelligent people, given the odds in this, that it would have given an indication of whether or not they're going to be rescued.
Awful. Right, Kevin, I know word then. Jail terms, a new online safety bill. If you share or create explicit images without consent of an other, you could go to prison for 6 months. A lot of people be saying absolutely fair enough.
Exactly. Yeah, the online safety bill, which is going through the House of Lords at the moment, and it's ushering in a lot of tighter regulations for the social giants, really. But of course, at the moment, it was, if this is especially this article, especially around revenge porn, really, or deepfake porn, where actually people can upload images of people to these sites and they will strip them and whatever else, and they can release the images online, even though the person themselves was never even naked or whatever, and they look so realistic again. So people can be, with online, just being shown on these images again. But also, of course, a lot of people have intimate photos and videos of their partners as well, and maybe a breakup happens and they're shared again, and that's going to become a large issue in the future again, where people just do something really stupid and that goes out online, and even if you get the site and take it down, no, images are scraped and videos are scraped and it goes all over. Again, it's the whole thing about if you go outside and throw confetti up in the air again, someone says, go and collect all that, it's impossible. Once an image gets leaked online.
Yeah, Kevin, our time is gone, but I see photo stream is going to be dropped on Apple devices and all the rest. I think that's going to come as a major shock. Look, we'll talk about it in this slot next week perhaps, but a lot of people are going to get a queer gunk when they realise all the photographs from 6-8 years ago are gone, images of granny and all the rest,
No, they can transfer them into their library, really. It's just a free version, really. And you can also subscribe to iCloud Photos as well. It's in the Apple app. But no, you can get those images and do it before they bring on the service. Just copy them into your library.
Yeah. I wouldn't know where to do that, but of course you would. And we'll talk about it potentially next week. Kevin, thanks as always. Professor Kevin Curran, the Professor of Cybersecurity at the Ulster University at Magee College there. Thanks to Kevin for helping us this week. Now listen, after